Miki, welcome to the farm. So glad to have y'all here with me today because I have got a busy day here in the kitchen. As y'all can see, we have been bringing in a whole lot of harvest, and I've got to get this up before it sits here and goes bad on me. You know, we do like to tend to indulge our pigs and our livestock with things out of our garden, but we also like to put up some for ourselves as well. So today I am going to be working on getting our okra that I harvested out of the garden this morning cut up and blanched and breaded so we can get this in the freezer for us over the winter months. And I've already been working on getting some tomato sauce canned. This is the first year, y'all, that I've canned tomato sauce, and I'm really excited about it. It did really well. All the jars sealed really good for me. But I'm really excited about the okra this year because last year, whenever I froze our okra and breaded it to freeze it, y'all, it froze in a big clump. So I have found the proper way to freeze breaded okra so you won't have that problem with it clumping together in the freezer. So I'm excited to share that with y'all today. I got the okra soaking in a vinegar bath. So I've got some water mixed with some vinegar so it'll soak it, kill any bugs or bacteria. So we'll be doing this throughout the rest of the season as we pick the okra along. We've still got a lot of plants out there that are big producers this year. So we've got plenty of okra and still coming in. Right now I've got a big pot of water on the stove and I'm waiting for it to come to a boil. It's almost there. So I'm gonna take all of my okra and place it in the boiling water for up to 4 minutes to get it blanched good before we start getting it cut. All right, so my water is at a good boil. I'm gonna go ahead and dump my okra in the boiling water pot and get it blanched. I almost need a bigger pot, but it's got a lot of water in here. I might have to dump some out if it starts boiling over. But we're just gonna let this sit in here for about 4 minutes. And while this is boiling, I am going to go ahead and get together my ice cold water because we want to shock it before we get it cut up. So I'm just gonna fill the sink here with cold water and put some ice cubes in it. We want this water nice and cold because once we pull that okra off of that hot boiling water, we're immediately going to stick it in this ice cold water. All right, my timer is going off, so I am going to pull this boiling water off the stove. I'm gonna put y'all on pause for a minute and show you what I'm gonna do next. So the okra has been in here and soaking for just a few minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out, put it back in my strainer and let it get strained out really good. And then we'll start cutting all this up. All right, so right here in this bowl, I have some cornmeal breading, and I'm gonna add some salt and pepper to this, and this will be my breading for my okra. All right, so we're gonna put some salt in here, and you just kind of wanna do it to taste, and some pepper, and I will get that mixed in there really good. Might add a little bit more as I go. Yep, maybe just a little bit more salt and pepper mixed in there. But that's pretty much what you do with your breading mix. I've got all the okra pulled out of the ice bath, so we're gonna go ahead and start chopping off the tops of them and getting them cut up in small pieces, and we'll be putting them in our cornmeal mix. And whatever we're not going to utilize off of it, I've got my pig bucket down here. I'm going to throw it in with the pig bucket and they can enjoy it. The parts that we won't eat. But as you can see, I'm just kind of cutting it in about an inch slice thick and dumping it into the breading mix. So as y'all can see, all I'm doing is taking that and stirring around in the breading mix. Behind me, I have a baking pan and a piece of parchment paper over the top. So what I'm going to be doing is laying all this okra in a single layer. We'll stick it in the freezer overnight. And then once it's froze, I can pull it out in the morning and get it in some freezer bags so we can get that stored up and away. And you know, hubby always grows me some extra okra around here, y'all, because he knows how much I love it. And it is so hard for me to imagine anyone from the South not liking okra. You know, whenever I used to take clogging whenever I was younger, we would have things around here called the okra strut. And our clogging team actually performed at the okra strut several years. So that's how big okra is around here. You boil it, you fry it, you dehydrate it, you pickle it, you name it. Okra is definitely a love in the South. All right, so I brought all my okra over here. I'm gonna get some, go ahead and start putting it out on the pan. But yeah, I love my okra, y'all, and we will probably be doing more things with it to get it stored up. I might try some pickling okra this year. I have never pickled it myself, and get some in the dehydrator as well. It's good both ways, and if you haven't tried those as well, highly recommend it. But I could eat okra any way you give it to me. It is so good. But I think probably one of the favorites is fried, because you know, in the South, we eat so healthy down here. Everything is fried in the South. Show you what I got here, y'all. I've got a nice big size baking pan of breaded okra, and I am going to stick that in our freezer overnight, and then I will get all that bagged up tomorrow. And I wanted to show y'all what I got going on here. I actually added a little bit more to them, so I'm just letting all that cook down. And that is a full crock pot of tomatoes. So y'all know me, I like to clean up as I go along so it doesn't make such a mess in the end. And I'm going to go ahead and get these couple of dishes washed up here, and we'll get started on the next project. Y'all know that we picked up a big basket of peaches at the farmer's market, and I've let them sit here for a couple of days because they still weren't quite ripe when we got them. So I'm gonna go ahead and be getting those peeled so we can get those canned this year. And this will be my first year canning peaches. Last year, when we bought them, I put them in the freezer. So, but you know, like I told hubby, we tend to put a lot of things up in the freezer, and if we ever lose power, we need to be able to have some stuff canned as well. So that's why, like I said, I started getting into learning how to can last year, and looking forward to doing a lot more of it this year, y'all. The pigs are going to have a field day today with all these scraps. The livestock around here, y'all, they always enjoy harvest season because they get fed all these scraps around here. It's like a treat for them, and they just love it. And it's so nice because even just peelings on a peach don't go to waste around here. It's nice to utilize your corn stalks, your okra plants. Once you pull them up, you know, all the stuff you pull up out of the garden, around here is utilized. Either we're using it or we're using it for our livestock. So I still got a few more, and those I'm going to see if I can cut the bad spots off, but I could not get them all in this big old pot right here. So I'm going to go ahead and start working with these first. I've got them in some water soaking in, I'll show y'all right here, some fruit fresh, because when you start peeling your fruits, it'll start turning brown on you. So while I was getting all those peeled up to keep them from turning brown, I just put some water in a big old pot and put a little bit of fruit fresh in there to keep them from browning until I could get to them to finish them up. So I'm going ahead and get these done. And there's hubby.
Hey everybody.
Home from work, and he is going to jump in here and go ahead and start getting all these cord, and we're going to start cutting those up so we can get them in the jars and get them canned. All right, so we're going to get them cut in half, y'all, like I said, and take that core out. Make sure we don't get any of the peach peel. Telling hubby, he's tall. So anyway, make sure we don't get any of that peach peel or anything like that. But y'all can see they stay pretty good in that fruit fresh while I was cutting the rest of them up. So I like that when it keeps them from turning so brown. And while you're got a big old basket full like that. But hubby's gonna get them cut up for me. And what we're gonna do is this piece right here, because I don't like that. I don't like that crunchy stuff. And somebody's phone's ringing. But this is what I did last year. I just kind of cut that out so we didn't have to mess with that. That's what I did on our pears. Whenever I cored those, I kind of cut out that tough center around.
Yeah. That's one thing I like about the white peaches. They just come off of the...
And if y'all haven't ever... These are white peaches. They are delicious. They're sweet. They've got a sweet taste to them.
Mm-hmm.
And, yep, there's a seed right there. Got a seed.
Take that downstairs and try to root it.
Yeah. I tried to root some of our peaches last year, and none of them came up.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Maybe they'll come up. Maybe it was a hit or miss. We'll let that sit there and dry out and see if we can try it again. But, or go ahead. Well, last year I let them dry out. So, maybe this year I'll just go ahead and stick it in some dirt.
Yeah, we'll have enough of them to sample with and see.
Yeah. If it doesn't come up, we haven't lost anything. But.
Well, it would be nice to have a white peach tree.
Oh, yeah. It sure would. And I always enjoy these peaches. They're so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got a much better flavor than the yellow peaches.
They do. They really do. So there was another lady selling peaches at the farmer's market, and she let hubby have one, and that thing was
hard as a rock.
So you couldn't even bite it. It was so hard. But I guess, after you let it sit there for a while, it'll ripen up. And that's kind of what I had to do with these, because they weren't completely ripe, but you could still eat them. When we first got them, they weren't that hard. But I just let them sit for a couple days and get a little bit riper before we get them peeled and cut up and canned this year. I always like my farmhand being home in the kitchen with me, because he always makes it a little bit more fun, and
yeah, I try.
He's a little comic sometimes, y'all. So he adds some entertainment around here for sure.
I kind of like the farm animals. I provide entertainment.
Yes, you do. I don't know which one's worse, you or the animals. And oh my goodness, here's a helper. Little Tootsie. They've been in the room taking a nap because it's been hot outside. So she said she'll help. You don't want that. You don't want that. They already been getting in the pig bucket. Yeah. So I had to clean up their mess all over the floor. they didn't particularly care for the taste of okra or peach peeling. So
No. They were trying, though.
they were trying. Got to give them credit for that. So we got Crescent and Bear in here. Y'all probably can't see him. Come here, Bear. Come here. Come here. I want y'all to look at this. Come here. Bear. Here. Come here. And Crescent says she will. Bear's just looking at me like, what? Hey, girl. She's a little short thing like her mama.
Yeah.
It's nice to have somebody shorter than me. Yeah. Come here, Bear. Come here. Come give me lovins. Come give me lovins, baby. Come on. I want y'all to look at this. This dog is literally about as tall as I am when he stands on his back legs. He is so tall.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big, tall boy. But Bear, y'all, this little thing right here, when he was little, the reason why we named him Bear, because he was the chunkiest little thing when he was a puppy. And every time I would feed them, he would stand in the middle of the feed bowl and eat. And every time you looked up, the rest of them would get full, but Bear would always go back. And every time you saw Bear, he was in the middle of the feed bowl eating. So that's how he got his name. And y'all know Crescent, she got her name because of her little half crescent mark around her neck. But her nickname is Toots. And Bear, we call him Bear or Bear.
Or Care Bear.
Or Care Bear. That's right. Yeah, he's a Care Bear and she's a Tootsie. Mm-hmm. Hey, Crescent. But y'all see her little half ring around her neck? She thinks she is something else now. Because she sits up like she's something else. So that's how we ended up nicknaming her Tootsie. But I'm going to let hubby finish up this right here. And I'm going to be washing up some of these canning jars so we can get them sterilized and get that process going. But I want to love you too, but I got to get this done.
Look at that seed.
I got to get it done.
Look at that seed. Looks like it's trying to
Yeah, that looks good. I'm going to stick it right here in the windowsill. Our windowsill is the collector of seeds sometimes.
Yeah. We got a rose up there growing that was off of one of my grandmamas. We had to move it when we put the puppy pen in, the new fence. And I broke off a piece that was blooming and brought it in here and stuck it in an old antique bottle in the windowsill. Yeah. And
it's actually rooting.
So we'll plant that somewhere in the yard.
Yeah, we'll get it planted. That was something Nana planted down here. I hated to have to pull that thing up. But I don't know, it really wasn't growing like a whole lot, like filling out. It was kind of tall, but leggy.
No, it was up under
a
dogwood
tree. Yeah, so I think once we plant that, I'm losing my brain. All right, I need the stopper so I can get these washed up here.
Yeah, the dogwood tree had died and wasn't nothing but a stump there. So we had to get it up anyway to move for the puppy fence going in. And the rose bush, when I tried to dig the dogwood tree up, the rose bush came with it. Because they've just been growing together so long. Yeah, that one got a little tip.
Oh, wow. So we got 2 peach seeds so far, and we'll see if we can make anything of it. I'm ready for our peach trees to start producing.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully in the next year.
Sorry, I just turned the water off. Yeah, I can't remember what kind they were now.
One's a Bela, Georgia, and the other one is a...
That's right.
I don't remember what the other one is.
I can't remember. We'll have to look at the tag again. We left the tag on the tree for right now. I think it's still out there unless Shep or one of the dogs have got a hold of it and tore it off.
It's hard to remember when you start planting stuff. It's hard to remember, even when you planted something a week ago, and then you plant 10 other things behind it. You can't remember what you planted or where you planted it.
Yeah. But anytime you're buying, you know, your blueberries or your peaches or anything like that, apple trees, you need to make sure which one you're buying, because some of them need a pair or 2 or 3 or 4, and some can be self-pollinating. But if you don't find the right fit to pollinate your trees or your blueberry bushes or your apple trees, you're not going to really have any luck with them.
Yeah.
But
they might grow, they just won't have bear no fruit.
Right. And a lot of times, like on the tags and stuff, like the ones we bought from Lowe's, it'll actually have on the tag which type you need to get to go with that particular one to help it pollinate each other.
Yeah.
Cross-pollinate. I knew I was trying to remember what word I was looking for. So I'm going to get these sterile in this hot water. I already did some, so some of them are ready, but we'll get all these ready.
I always remember my grandmama doing the same thing in the same kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
During the right certain times of the year, she'd always be canning something or freezing something, shelling something.
Well, that's what our grandparents did. You know, that was their way that they knew how to survive when they were little.
Mm-hmm.
And their parents did it, so it was kind of passed on. But over time, it's just becoming lost. Not a lot of people do this anymore.
Mm-mm.
Because the grocery stores, y'all, have just become so convenient to us. But, you know, when we had COVID come in, or, you know, any type of pandemic come in, you know, you're not always going to be able to find those needed items at the grocery store. I mean, look what happened to our toilet paper, of all things.
Yeah.
Who would have ever guessed we would have had a shortage on toilet paper?
Yeah.
But, you know, anytime, it's crazy, anytime we get a storm come up, everybody always piles up at the grocery store to buy milk, eggs, and bread and water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never occurred to us why everybody always buys stuff like eggs and milk that's going to go bad if you would happen to lose power. There's no way to store that stuff unless you had like a cooler. No. But, you know, that only lasts, or running off of a generator, but that only lasts for a short amount of time. So, you know, this gives us a way for long-term storage. And like I told them, last year we froze a lot of our stuff to put it back. But I told them that I told you this year, since I got into learning how to do this more last year, I really want to focus on canning a lot more this year instead of freezing. And yeah, we'll still freeze some things, just so we'll have on hand. But if we lose power, that's a lot of food to go to waste. And canning it or dehydrating it is a good way for a longer life shelf storage.
And the freezer is only good for about a year.
Right.
And canning jars and stuff is good for about, a year and a half, 2 years.
Right. So like the okra that I breaded up that I'm going to get bagged in the freezer, that'll last like that for a year, up to a year in the freezer. So that'll be good, because next year by this time, we'll already be planting more okra and getting some more okra come in. But it's good to be able to have enough to get you through until the next planting season.
Yeah,
so,
exactly, yeah.
It's always nice. And I think the best thing about it, y'all, is because of the fact that it doesn't have all the
MSGs and...
Sorry, hubby's behind me. All the chemicals and things that they put in food now. You know, we know where our food came from.
Yeah.
And it does. It tastes so much better. And I think, too, just you're able to enjoy it more because you know the amount of work that you put into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It tastes a lot better than... Our string beans are a lot fresher and better than what you get in a can where they put all the MSG stuff in it to make it last longer and have a longer shelf life. And
Right.
it just completely takes the flavor away.
Alright, so I have got all this ready to go. I don't know how many jars we're going to need, but we can add more if we need to. As we go along, I'm going to put a little bit more water in this pot because we are going to fill the jars up with some hot water. And I've already got the water bath canner full of water and ready to go for these jars.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I'm a little ahead on this part.
Gonna bore y'all to death with me sitting here for 30 minutes cutting peaches up, so let me get these on cut up and we'll take y'all back along and show y'all what we're doing next. Hey Tootsie, you want some peach peels? Tootsie said she wants to help.
Alright, so y'all can see I've got my container of granulated sugar and getting some hot boiling water going. I'm gonna turn that stove up a little bit higher on that one and probably that one as well. So I've got all my canning jars here, and I've got a 1/4 of a cup measuring cup and a glass measuring cup so I can dip my boiling water out. So what I'm going to do with this to make the syrup for our peaches, I'm going to, in each jar, put a 1/4 of a cup of sugar. It's kind of hard to do it watching the phone. In each one of these jars, and then I am going to fill these jars up with 1 inch of water. Don't get all caught up in the measurements on your water at this point because you will be filling the jars up with boiling water after you get your peaches in. Basically, you want enough water in your jars where you can mix that sugar and get it dissolved in there really good. And I'm just going to measure out that individually straight into the jars. It makes it easier and a lot less mess. So I got 1 pot boiling, so I'm going to go ahead and use that water and get these jars filled up while hubby's finishing up on getting the rest of those peaches over there cut up. So just to show you what I'm doing, I'm dipping my measuring cup in my boiling water and just pouring just enough in there. And we're gonna get that stirred up real good so that sugar in there will dissolve. And Tootsie and Bear hear the rest of the babies out there barking, so they want to chime in. But this is all we're going to do until we get those peaches in that jar. And this is your syrup for your peaches. So I'm going to go ahead and get these finished up and show you the next step. Okay, y'all, hubby's got all these peaches cut up for me, and I am going to stick them in the jar to about the little shoulder right there. So after you put your syrup in, got it mixed up and dissolved, you just want to fill your jar up with as many peaches as you can fit in there. All the way up to this shoulder space. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. Might add one more little one in there. Okay, so that's what it's gonna look like, y'all, when you finish it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these jars filled up with all these peaches, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I've got a couple of jars here just to show you what we're doing now. So I still got my boiling water on the stove. So I'm gonna fill up my measuring cup, and we're gonna fill these jars with hot boiling water until they cover the peaches. Can y'all see me through the jars? So, and that usually leaves about an inch of your head space. But you want to make sure that the water that you're putting in here over your peaches is boiling hot water. And I'm going to pull this little gadget out again. So what you do to get the air bubbles, I'm just going to show you a couple of jars so I can go ahead and get the other ones finished. So we're just getting all the air bubbles out to come up to the surface. And I don't know if y'all can see them or not, but that's what this little stick does. And like I said, you can buy this with your canning jar set, or you can buy it separately. But if you don't have one of these, you can also use just a bread knife. Just something to stick, and I don't know if y'all can see me, down around the edges of your jars to push out all those air bubbles. And you're kind of, when you're doing this, you're kind of pushing from the back, kind of forward into the center of the jar to release those air bubbles up in there in the center of the jar. So I'm going to finish up the rest of these jars doing this, and then we'll go from there to the next step, y'all. This is a process to go through, but it is well worth it. And once you figure it out, it's actually kind of fun. Just to show you this, guys, once you get all those air bubbles out of your jars, you may end up having to add just a little bit more water to your jars, and that's okay, because that's just repositioning those peaches and your things in your jars and getting those air bubbles out, and just top it off with your boiling water. And like I said, you want to leave about an inch of headspace so y'all can see where my water line is. Okay, guys, so whenever you finish doing all that, what you want to do next, get you a paper towel. I kind of wet mine a little bit on one side, but you want some dry paper towels. You're going to go around the tops and around the edges of these jars around the top to get any of that juice or stickiness off the jars where it needs to seal. So I'm just kind of going around it right now with just the wet part of my paper towel. And then I'll go back behind that and get those dried off really good. So I'm just going to go back around them with dry paper towel. And dry the tops of these jars off. And I hope y'all can see what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I didn't realize. So you're basically just going around the outside right here of your jar and around the top. And like I said, we're just getting the stickiness and drying them off so they'll seal good. Alright, and after you finish with that, you're going to pop your lids on. And then you're going to seal them with the ring. Just tight enough to where you can't really turn it no more. You don't have to over tighten it. All right, so we ended up with 9 jars of peaches. And they look so good. So we're going to get these in a water bath. And my water's been boiling. We took the lid off right now so it quit boiling. But once we put it in there and shut that lid, it'll start boiling again. And these are going to process for 30 minutes, y'all. So, hubby, you want to do the honors? Because that can be a little heavy, lifting all those jars up.
Yes, it can.
A little bit too much water.
A little too much.
That's what happens when you try to judge it. So we're going to dump a little bit of this water out. Because when you put your jars in there, you at least want to have like an inch or 2 of head space over the top of your jars. So I was trying to judge by that to make sure I had enough water in there. And I usually like to go ahead and get my water boiling in the process while I'm starting this out, because it takes so long for this big pot right here to actually start coming to a boil. So I think it's still a little bit too much. Yeah. Need to dump some more out. But like I said, you only want about an inch of headspace above your jars. And we're going to go ahead and put the lid on top of there. Sorry. And we're going to set our timer to 30 minutes. So as y'all can see, I've got my other pots of water here, and this is why I do it, because I needed that boiling water to fill my jars up. And then if I ever need any extra water, I already have my boiling water ready and waiting. And y'all, out of those peaches, we only had that many left. And I think I might just have to eat me some peach. If y'all have never tried a white peach, see if you can find them in your area. They are so good. And honestly, they don't need any sugar because they are so naturally sweet. But just that little bit of sugar in the syrup will help keep it and be good for our peach cobblers.
Yeah.
Because in the South, just like our okra, we like our peach cobblers, or any kind of cobblers as well.
Yeah.
But I want to switch all around here. While we were sealing our jars, hubby noticed something on one of them that is very important to make sure all of your lids and everything don't have any blemishes or anything on them, because it will prevent them from sealing properly.
All right, y'all, this is why it's very important when you're canning to make sure you inspect everything before you put it on. This is, I believe, a brand new jar lid. And if she zooms in right there, I'll lay it down where you can see it better. that.
Y'all see this blemish? Whoop, right here.
It's the rubber
It's popping
gasket.
up.
It's the rubber gasket.
Y'all can see it popping up a little bit right there.
Yeah, it's got like an air bubble up under the rubber gasket where they made it. So you always got to check for stuff like that because that jar, 99% certain, probably would not seal, or it could cause it to unseal later on, and then bacteria or whatever get into your sealed jars. So.
Right, right. And you also want to make sure too you don't have any cuts or scratches or anything like that on your seals as well.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people reuse them, and sometimes some people buy new ones. If they're in good shape, you can reuse them. That's everybody's preference on what you want to do. A lot of people just buy brand new ones every time they can.
right. All right, so our timer just went off. I'm gonna get hubby to pull these out because like I said, these jars and that hot water is pretty heavy and
dangerous.
I'm gonna let him get burnt, not me. Okay, so I have a clean, dry towel sitting on the counter because these jars are gonna be very, very hot and you don't wanna stick them straight on your counter. So I'm gonna let hubby go ahead and get these out of here. And y'all can see that is hot and steaming. And we still got 3 more jars to process. So those over here will go into a water bath. And that's how we've processed these peaches, in a water bath. And we'll process those for 30 minutes and get those out as well. All right. Y'all can see those look so good. So we're gonna get those off the rack and place those on the towel over here. And once they start cooling down, the little top is gonna start popping, and that's how you're gonna know it's sealed. And you can come back in and check it. Right now, it's raised up. I don't want to put my finger on it too much because it's hot, but it's got a little hump in it. And once it seals, that's gonna pop down in there and suck in. So you'll be able to tell. You'll either hear them pop, or you can look at them and take your finger and tell that they're sealed properly. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get these on the rack because those still have to be processed while we're letting these sit here and cool down and seal good. So we got 3 more jars to do, 30 more minutes. And just make sure we still got enough water. We just need to add some more water to that.
Yeah.
So you'll have your inch space above the top of your lids. So that's why I like to keep my water on the stove, just in case we need to add some more. All right. I'm really excited about these. I told everybody this is my first time canning peaches.
They look good.
This year's gonna be a lot of firsts because last year I just did some string beans, some pears, and diced tomatoes and corn.
Yeah.
I believe that's what we did last year. And that was just me trying to figure the whole process out. All right, so your processing time, you want to make sure that your water is boiling before you start your timer. So we're still waiting for it to come back up to a boil, and we're going to get our timer set.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
And while we're waiting on this, your mom sent me a recipe today, since we have a ton of cucumbers.
Yeah.
And it is for a cucumber dip. So I'm going to take some of our cucumbers and try to make that dip. I've had some cream cheese sitting out so it'll soften up. And if you don't mind helping me with that,
Yeah.
I would love to share that recipe with our viewers as well, because I'm looking forward to trying it. I have not tried this yet, y'all. I'm going to read out this recipe to y'all. And are you paying attention? because he's going to be helping me with this. So this is for the cucumber dip. You need a fourth of a cucumber peeled and chopped. You need 3 grams of onion, an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, make sure it is softened, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. I think I pronounced that right. And an 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. And then you're gonna mix and cover and put it in the fridge. So we're gonna get started on peeling our cucumbers here. Our pigs are gonna love us today. All these scraps. Look at that bucket full. They got all kinds of stuff in there. So hubby's got us a cucumber over here, and we're gonna go ahead and get this peeled up real good. Get that cucumber skin off of there. He always does a good job.
Something else for the piggy.
Mm-hmm.
You always soak the rest of this in a little bit of vinegar.
Oh yeah.
That's always good. Let it sit in the refrigerator overnight.
Put a little bit of salt and pepper in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that makes some good cucumbers.
A fourth of a cucumber.
So cut it a little bit less than a half.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get this cucumber, just to chop it up in small pieces. She said chopped, but she said that she thinks she might like it better if it was in little smaller pieces. That looks good. I'm anxious to try this because you know I like cucumbers.
Yeah. You walk around eating cucumbers with a little bit of salt on them.
Yeah, the whole thing. I'll just peel it and take me a whole cucumber and put a little bit of salt on it, and I'll just eat the whole thing like that. I was telling him how much I like okra and told him I couldn't believe that you don't like it because that is a southern thing. And I told him, I said, in the South, you boil it, you fry it, you dehydrate it, and you pickle it.
Yeah.
There's so many different...
I do like pickled okra now.
Yes, it is good. So, and I like the dehydrated okra too.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So, I've tried it all and I like all of it. All right, hubby, I'm gonna let you figure this part out. You ready? You need 3 grams of onion.
3 grams. The only way I could measure out grams would be go get my powder scale that I use for reloading. I ain't going that far. A little too much onion ain't gonna hurt nobody. A little too less onion ain't gonna hurt nobody. Never heard of grams of onion.
No, I haven't either. That's a first. But we're gonna go with it. That's what the recipe calls for. So we're just gonna chop this up. I'm saying we're gonna chop it in little small pieces.
Yeah. I would presume, honestly.
That looks good. Probably just a little bit to taste. That's probably enough right there.
Yeah, that's probably actually about 3 grams or less.
Yeah.
Actually, if you go by powder weight, that would probably be 3 grams, but we'll just have a little extra onion in it. What's the next ingredient?
Well, don't expect me to kiss you if your breath smells bad. Oh, goodness. So we got our onion and our cucumber chopped up in the bowl. All right there, sir. So your next ingredient for this recipe is going to be an 8-ounce block of cream cheese softened. So I've had the cream cheese sitting out. It should be Nice and soft.
It is that. I can feel it. It's not even cold now.
Sometimes those little packets are hard to get open, but then once you find the right spot, it comes right on open so good.
Yeah, it does. Tucker said he wants to be the guinea pig to taste it.
Yeah. Lucky. Are you going to be a lucky Tucky? He said, oh, please.
So gentle.
He is. He likes the cream cheese.
He said that's good.
He's probably going to puke later. You're feeding my dog cream cheese. Oh, goodness. He's licking his lips.
He said he wants more.
All right, so we got the Worcestershire sauce, and we need a tablespoon of that added. All right. It's getting there. And now we need 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. So probably just like a little pinch of salt.
1/8 of a teaspoon?
Teaspoon. So like a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to mix all that together. I think I like just about anything with cream cheese in it.
Yeah.
Lucky. My lucky Tucky.
He wants more cream cheese.
You want some cucumber dip? You're so sweet, buddy. Didn't he do a good job helping me edit videos? He's so excited. He was so excited to help me do that for y'all. Yes, you were. Give kisses. I'm getting kisses, y'all.
He loves kisses.
Yes, he does. He's a sweet buddy.
My whole day when I walk home down and he's sleeping in the den, he gives me Tucker kisses every morning. If I miss my Tucker kisses, my day just don't go right.
I know. They can all be sweet when they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So I guess what you're waiting on basically is somehow for the Worcestershire sauce to, I guess, do something this.
Probably just to mix in there. It's almost kind of probably like a French onion dip.
Yeah, yeah.
And just to kind of mix in there really good, so it's not so overpowering and settle down in there. And also just for it to get chilled.
That's kind of what I was just about to say. That's what it kind of smells and reminds you of when you make it. It's French onion dip.
So that's going to be good on some crackers, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I actually want to try it, though. Give me a little spoonful. Tucker said he already tried the cream cheese, but I'm gonna try. He's trying to speak. I'm gonna try this. This is mine. Oh, I think he's gonna get upset. That's good. That'll be good on crackers. I think once that Worcestershire sauce kind of calms down a little bit, because it is kind of hits you at first, but yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. I'm gonna get him a treat. And y'all, we still got our Jace treat jar. So every time I give the puppies a little treat out of here, now they're always referred to as a special Jace treat. You want a Jace treat? Give me a high five. High five. There you go. That's a good boy. Yeah. All right. So he got him a special Jace treat, y'all. And that's how we remember our little white fur baby around here. We still got memories all over. And that's a good way to remember him. Well, this was very simple and very easy. So the last step that you need to do is just take a piece of saran wrap or any type of cover. Just cover your bowl and stick it in the refrigerator overnight. So along with getting all these critters around here fed up good and watered today and doing all this canning, you know, it is a process in itself. So, but I've also been filling up some 2-liter bottles, and y'all heard a pop on one of my canning jars. So that means I've got one ready and sealed that's cooling down, which is a good thing. You always love to hear that on the jars. So hubby's laughing at me. But y'all make sure that you're even putting back your water, which I know a lot of you are. You never know when you're gonna need it in an emergency situation. And I still got a lot to do around here, y'all. I still got all these tomatoes to get put up. And y'all, I'm just gonna let these continue cooking overnight and probably just can up some more tomato sauce, because we do utilize that throughout the year, and I'd love to have some extra jars of tomato sauce around. And I still got all these tomatoes. So I will be working on all these tomorrow and getting those canned up, but it's been a long day and I am going to call it a night. So I think we made some progress today.
You made a lot of progress. I was at work.
Yeah, definitely getting those peaches up. I feel good about that because I didn't want them sitting there either too long and getting way too ripe. And we don't like to waste.
No.
For sure. And I think that's where we get from our grandparents.
Yeah.
And I appreciate y'all coming along with me today and getting a beginner's guide to canning up the peaches, and to see my timer's going off. So the last batch of peaches are ready. We're gonna get those pulled out, let them cool down overnight. And like I said, I appreciate y'all coming along with me today for this beginner's guide to canning and letting y'all see kind of what I'm doing with our tomatoes. And y'all try out that good cucumber dip recipe. Let me know what you think. Y'all be safe out there. Take care. God bless. Y'all come back and see us soon.